On it, being that you're a Cavs fan and all.
I mean, I hope. Last year, Nerlens Noel tore his ACL.
Yeah.
After he tore that, pretty much we got the first pick. Everybody thought we were going to take Noel. Then it was, pretty much everybody in Cleveland said, wherever you do not take. Don't take Noel. But you see, last year we stepped out, took Anthony Bennett. He wasn't consensus #1. He was like in the top 10, but he wasn't consensus #1. This year, Embiid being hurt, Cavs fans, we kind of impatient. So I would hope we wouldn't take him, but more likely we will. I think he's a safe pick because when you look at him when he's healthy, like when they played Oklahoma State earlier this year, he just was dominant. So when healthy at 7'2", he's dominant. He can do a lot of things, but at the same time, got injury issues. But as Cavs fans used to, we had to drill Silgauskas. I think the first 5 years, other than that rookie season, he was hurt. He was always on the bench. So pretty much, I think they're going to take Embiid with the first pick.
Got I sold on Wiggins or Parker?
Jabari Parker really can't play defense. I mean, Jabari Parker can score. He can put the ball in the basket, but he can't play defense. A good friend of mine was a coach saying, Jabari Parker, probably the worst defense he's ever seen from a elite level prospect. I mean, he's a basketball coach.
Yeah,
that's what he does for a living. He said that's probably the worst defense he's seen from an elite level prospect. Like, just can't guard anybody. So that's going to hurt him unless he plays. But if he goes to Milwaukee, he won't have that problem because he got Brandon Knight still be there. He's got guys that
they're all young.
Yeah.
Got Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Yeah, see that's the thing. You put him on Milwaukee now. I mean, he has to guard the NBA, but now it's like you need him just to score. Let everybody else worry about defending. He can just score.
So I think that would be the best fit for him to go number 2. Wiggins. A lot of your Cavs fans are all high on, I want them to take Wiggins. He has upside.
I really don't want them to take Wiggins because we need a big man. Look at our starting 5. Where are we lacking? We're lacking a big man. That's the problem. Because we have Kyrie Irving, Deion Waiters at 2. We have maybe at the 3, Anthony Bennett. Luol Deng if he comes back. Anthony Bennett, more of kind of like a big, small forward. You say that. We have Tristan Thompson. We need another big man. That's why I say we'll probably take Embiid and just wait it out. Have him sit out this season. If he is healthy and wants to play, send him to Canton for the rest of the year so he can get some basketball in him. But
I can't.
Well, if we're going to take I said this on Facebook, if we need a big man in Cleveland, if we're going to take a big man's hurt, I'd rather take Julius Randle. That's just me personally. I like Julius Randle's game a lot.
He reminds me of Zach Randolph.
Right. So, as I'm saying, if we're going to take a big man with injury concerns, I'd rather take Julius Randle. It'd be just like last year, top 10 prospect.
Surprise everybody.
Yeah, surprise everybody.
But back to Wiggins, to me, I don't think he's good, but I think a lot of people overrate him.
He is overrated.
Because the games I see him play, when they lost to, West Virginia when he had 41, it seemed like he forces everything. That game there, even though they lost, he let the game come to him. But now he sits around, he just doesn't, don't have that.
When he went to Kansas, I thought that was kind of odd because I don't think Bill Self, him and Jabari Parker, they both went to 2 schools that were very elite.
Yeah.
And they learned how to play basketball, but that really wasn't their game.
Style.
It didn't fit their style. They're going to the NBA. I think Andrew Wiggins, if he goes to Philadelphia, that would be a dangerous team as long as they keep Michael Carter-Williams. Michael Carter-Williams, a lot of people are beating the door down with Philadelphia to try to get Carter-Williams. Philadelphia needs to keep Carter-Williams, and if they put in Wiggins with their style, I think they'll be a good young combo. They
both out the gate players, but
I think And I think Carter Williams, his leadership, I don't think Michael Carter Williams last year, everybody looked at the numbers.
Yeah.
But even when they were losing, I think that leadership, being a point guard,
solidified his rankings. Because I like him. I like Tony Roten.
Yeah.
They can play. So you add another guy with Wiggins who's very athletic, that can, up the tempo for them. And then could attract some veteran free agent to come there. I'm not going to say that they're going to be a playoff team next year.
They're not. They might take again next year.
But within the 3-4 year range, I think they'll be up there in the East. Not high level, but they could be 5th through 7th seed. Milwaukee, on the other hand, like I said, I want them to get Parker. I like their team.
Right, that'd be a perfect fit for.
Because hopefully they don't get rid of Larry Sanders. If he just grows up and be mature.
Right. Larry Sanders has all that talent.
Just head ain't there.
Right. I mean, just cares more about smoking weed and, unfortunately for him, he plays the NBA, he can't smoke weed.
Yeah, you gotta stop trying to be an advocate for it. It's not gonna fly.
Not gonna happen.
If he stays, he grows up and utilizes potential. I like Milwaukee. Because they was hurt last year.
Right.
Because they have Delfino. He's a playoff caliber guy that can bring a lot of veteran leadership to Milwaukee. If he stays healthy and Parker can give you at least... They had trouble scoring, so I could say that he can easily get 18 to 20.
Yeah, 18 a game. Who's Milwaukee's coach?
Larry Drew still.
Larry Drew still, so... We'll see, because Larry Drew, he likes to run that kind of motion offense sometimes. So,
plus he worked well with athletic bigs during his time at Atlanta. So Larry Sanders is athletic for his size. So hopefully he, like I said, utilizes his talent, and hopefully they'll be able to get over the hump instead of going from a 15, 16 team win season to. I would say that if Parker can play 18 to 20.
Right.
I could say that I could see them winning 42-40.
I ain't give them that much.
Between 42 and 37.
I think they win maybe 30. 30 would be a good season for them. This Milwaukee team, I mean, they on paper, they're a good team. They one of them teams on paper. They one of them teams you can make it work on 2K, but you never know about just the season. Parker being a rookie, Brandon Knight, decent point guard. I think they'll need to find a bench. Can't really get a veteran going in Milwaukee, so I say it'd be a good improvement if they win 30 games.
I'll give them a little edge. They got Raymond Sessions too, but he like playing for losers.
Right.
So the first one you with Embiid taking a safe pick.
Yeah, unfortunately. So probably Embiid, Parker, Wiggins, Orlando.
I like Orlando. I
do too.
For them, I want them to get Vonleh. Either Vonleh or they need a point guard, and I don't know about Smart. Well,
the thing is that they still have Jameer Nelson. I'm always going.
Yeah, he's a free agent though. I mean, you think they're gonna resign? They probably resign him for.
They'll probably resign him because where's he going? He's been there his whole career. I've always liked Jameer Nelson, even from the St. Joe's days, before the Sports Illustrated cover and everything else. Before they went undefeated, that last year, he was there. I always liked Jameer Nelson, so I think he'll still be there. You still need to find his replacement, so I don't think Marcus Smart's the answer because he just drafted Oladipo last year. So if Marcus Smart comes in and he can't handle it being the point guard.
Plus, he's not a good shooter.
Right, you just got.
Because I would rather start Oladipo at point.
Right.
And then put Mo Harkless, Tobias Harris forward. That's why I like Vonleh because he stretches the court.
Right.
And Vucevic is a potential 14-12 guy. It's either him, Vonleh, or...
I'd take Vonleh or Aaron Gordon.
I like Aaron Gordon from Boston. I would rather see him go to Boston.
No, I don't think.
If if he slips. Well, they after Utah at 6, so. Because because Rondo can have an athletic counterpart for once. So that's why I like him going there. But for Orlando, I don't know about Exum.
I don't either.
I mean, I see
just know all I know about Exum. I heard about him last year because I saw him on a documentary. He was supposed to go to Indiana. Like he's supposed to be a freshman in Indiana this year, but he decided to skip college. Come to the pros, come to America. So we'll see. Exum's kind of the
he's kind
wild
of
card.
Hit or miss for me.
Yeah. If he slips, don't be surprised if he goes to Charlotte because his pops played for North Carolina.
Oh yeah, Cecil back in the day.
Yeah, that's it. Says don't be surprised if Michael Jordan decided to look out for him and take a flyer on him. Because I mean they do have Kemba Walker, but you can always slide Exum over to the two.
Because Henderson can't shoot. I'm pretty much done with Michael Kidd Gilchrist. So Orlando.
I like Kidd Gilchrist. He's so inconsistent.
I mean, he can't shoot I don't know. It's just I don't even know.
Because I don't think Kidd Gilchrist is even 21 yet.
22. I'm not gonna sleep on him. Hell, Jermaine O'Neal was the same way.
Right.
It took him like 5-6 years to find his niche, so I'm not gonna close the chapter on him.
Right. So if Exum slide, don't be surprised if Charlotte takes him because they got that pick, lottery pick, even though they made the playoffs this year.
Yeah, for my Pistons, damn them. Yeah. What about Utah?
That might be, say, Aaron Gordon. So it depends on how the first four go. If somebody reaches.
They have to take Randall. Favors not. I don't know. I don't think he's used right.
I don't think Julius Randle would be a good fit for Utah because they still have. They still have Canner, and Canner played well last year.
Yeah, but the assistant coach they just hired from Atlanta.
Quinn Snyder.
Yeah, so I was thinking that because he has success with bigs, like I said, with Larry Drew in Atlanta, and I think he'll bring that type of offense to the Jazz. That's what I'm saying. Randall can have his actual style of play because he didn't get that when he was in Kentucky. So that's why I would say that, hey, Utah should be able to select, Randall, if, he doesn't get drafted with those top 4 picks.
Right.
So, Favors, I mean, he's a good player, but I don't think that Utah fits his style. Neither did I think that when he was at Georgia Tech, his game wasn't, I don't know, he's more like a tweener.
Right.
And I don't see them picking any, a backcourt because I think they're going to retain Hayward. I like Burke. I like Alec Burks. So I think you have to go with
backcourt full, so it's going to be front court.
You have to go with Randall. You have to go with Randall. It has to. In Boston, like we just said, you said you wanted Boston to get Randall.
Boston might get Randall. So LA. Sacramento won't take. Well, you never know with Sacramento. They took Thomas Robinson when they had DeMarcus Cousins, but I think Sacramento they'll probably go. It's gonna be interesting because Isaiah Thomas is a free agent, restricted free agent, but he's still a free agent. If I'm correct.
Yeah, they can be able to match any offer and give it to him. So unless they want to propose a trade.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's gonna overpay for Isaiah Thomas. So. They'll probably look front court.
Either they have to get some guy that's kind of slows the pace down. So I would look Levine. I think from UCLA because he's not a fast player, but he can shoot. Because those guys like to run, and he can come off the bench for McLemore. Because they're not a bad team. They don't have no discipline.
They have zero discipline. They have no veterans.
Besides Landry, but he's always hurt.
Because you look at that team, so that's another 2K team. Because you can dominate on 2K with them. Because they have 3 young guys. Pretty much DeMarcus Cousins is the leader. which is a good. I mean, he's a good leader, but at the same time, when he does things like that, like that one thing on Twitter they had where after the game, Isaiah Thomas tried to shake hands and just snatched,
grab him like he a woman in the club. So,
right.
you know, they're a good team. Like, you know, they don't have no discipline. Sometimes they just hoist up shots like crazy. Cause like they have 3 guys that average 20 points with Thomas, Gay, and Cousins.
Rudy Gay's probably gonna be out of there.
Yeah, he picked up the option because this is gonna be his last time getting paid. Because he's one guy I used to say that he's a good player, but he's not. He can be a lot better. I don't know what's going on with him.
Right.
He has the potential, but it's just not there. Because it's kind of weird how he was in Memphis and it'll be a first-round playoff. The year he got hurt and they trade at the trade deadline and they beat San Antonio, but they lost the second round. And then they come back next year, squandered a 27-point lead in Game 1 against the Clippers, and they lost in 7. You get rid of him for Tayshaun Prince, or you know, a 3-team deal, and brought Tayshaun Prince there, and they went to Western Conference.
Same thing with Toronto.
Yeah, same thing.
Toronto was kind of struggling, then they ended up winning the division.
And you know what? And that's what John Salmon's. I always say he's the Captain Save-A-Hole in the NBA because he come in and mid-season and will help you out. Because I already did that with Chicago a couple times, Milwaukee in 2010. You know, he didn't have the same effect, but I think his vibe, just being around the guys, is what kind of sparked those guys up in Toronto. So that was like perfect science. So with Sacramento, man, they can do whatever they want. And just let it go.
Who knows that? I mean,
I would say they should take Levine just to have a shooter. He's like one of the best shooters in the class. Him and Gary Harris. So
yeah, we seen what happened last time. They took a shooter. They took help me out, Jimmy Fredette. They saw what happened. Never could get off the bench.
Come on.
You almost seem afraid to shoot. That's another thing that comes in leadership. You always seem afraid to shoot sometimes. When he did see the court,
and he's BYU product. Yeah, you look at Sean Bradley. He would block some shots, but he ain't gonna score for you like he was in college. I mean, I'd rather Sacramento just take Levine, just slow the court down, and somebody who could just shoot. And next, got the Charlotte Bobcats.
Now the Hornets.
Well, yeah. I'll be forgetting that. Same thing like the Pelicans.
Right.
The Hornets now. They need somebody that can shoot. Henderson can't shoot from beyond the arc.
They'll probably take Stauskas.
Him.
Stauskas would be smart because they need somebody that can score. Other than Kemba Walker. They got Kemba Walker, Al Jefferson. They got Stauskas. So
yeah, he can pretty much shoot anywhere. I say he like the modern day Drazen Petrovic. Right. He just come and just shoot.
No, I want to.
I would say I get that. I leave that to Stephen Curry with the Petrovic, but he's one guy that can shoot from anywhere to the court. Now he's starting to slash a little bit, so that kind of just mixes the game plan up if you're able to keep that adequate success if he goes off to the NBA. So I could see that or him or Gary Harris, but I'd rather play it safe.
I'd go with Styles.
I'll play this. Yeah, I'm saying. Now, Philadelphia has another pick. So
they might get. I say probably takes depending on who they take with that first pick. I say maybe like a Kyle Anderson, maybe, or maybe they take a guy like a Sakarik from Croatia, or however you say his last name.
Yeah, I think he gonna stay overseas for
I say you draft him, keep him overseas.
I don't know. It seems like you just want somebody off the gate from day one, man. Because I know they don't want to experience this Nerlens Noel thing all over again. So hey.
But they already gonna have that third pick, which might be Wiggins.
If they get Wiggins,
or maybe Parker, has to depend on what Milwaukee was. But I think Milwaukee's going to take Wiggins. So, depending on who Philadelphia takes that third pick, depends on who they take at 10. Because at 10, they might take Doug McDermott, who I think will be a good compliment.
You know, just pass to him or just shoot.
Right.
You know,
Like I said, he can't play defense. He won't be able to guard anybody in the league. It's almost like if you take somebody like him, you have to.
you know, I'm thinking if they do take Wiggins 3, they need another guy that can shoot. Cause I would rather play Thaddeus Young at the 4. I would lean towards Rodney Hood because he's another guy that can shoot, but he's not really athletic. He don't drive to the rim.
Mm-hmm.
That would be my safe pick. Just, you know, somebody that can score. You know, he's an okay defensive player,
Mm-hmm.
but he's just not going to get to the rim. But you have Michael Carter Williams, and if they select Wiggins, that can get to the rim, and I'll just take the pressure since, you know, Carter Williams is a facilitator. He can always just kick it off. So they need some, you know, more scoring. So I would go with Rodney Hood, and they do. I think he'll be a 10, 11 point a night guy.
Right.
So that's my safe pick for Philadelphia's. Yeah, I can agree with that. And what you got Denver 11?
I say this is where it gets kind of interesting because you got to look at what they already have and what's available. I'd probably say maybe this is where they reach and take like a T.J. Warren or a Kyle Anderson. Because you look at Denver, they're a pretty decent team. They just played in the Western Conference.
He was hurt all year, so.
Yeah, and people was hurt.
Man, to be honest with you, I would trade that pick for a future. They just too deep. And now, I mean, if you look at it, okay, you got Ty Lawson, Nate Robinson will be coming back. You got Wilson Chandler. You got Gallinari coming back. Daryl Arthur, Anthony Randolph. Then at center, JaVale McGee's coming back. You know, I like the core. But I would at least just trade it and just get another next year.
At least trade down.
Or trade down. Somebody that you don't, I don't know, you could flip a pick with someone in the late first round. So I would say a team between the 25, 28, where you can, if James Young is available, you know, for 24 up, then you can get that. Because, like I say, there's no telling what Gallinari is going to do. He had, like, 2 ACL operations. So, you know, I would just trade down. Because I think if you just draft somebody high up, it was just going to be a wasted pick. So, yeah, we pretty much agree on that.
Right.
Because, what about, okay, Orlando has another. You know what?
Atlanta, one of them teams, they'll probably take. Because who we say Atlanta will probably take.
I'll say Von Lay.
You're taking Von Lay, so they'll probably take somebody in the backcourt. Because Atlanta doesn't like trading picks, so.
Because I know Aflalo will be going, so.
That might be Gary Harris where he goes.
I was thinking like a point guard. Because they're not going to be able to snag somebody in free agency.
It's going to be either Harris or I say Shabazz Napier.
You know what? Nate.
I know how much you don't like Napier, man.
Yeah, I wanted them to win. I wanted them to win. I like that dude from the University of Louisiana Lafayette, that Alfred Payton guy.
Yeah.
Kind of look like Nick Young, kind of. But I would. It's hard because Napier. If they were to take him, he'd be undersized. I mean, he's
undersized point guard already with
Nelson, but you know,
Nelson.
Just that whole. Okay, I can see him taking him or Peyton.
They might take Peyton. Just because he's a true point guard.
Because he can pass the ball. Only thing he can't do is shoot. They compare him to Rondo in some way. I mean, he played in a not so hot conference, but I seen him play, especially when they played Western Kentucky Hilltoppers, and I was like, man, this guy can play. And I know they lost to Creighton, so
Creighton.
Yeah, so what how do you correctly pronounce that? I always hear Creighton. Carl Nelson always tells me it's Creighton. I'm just like,
that's why I don't listen to Carl Nelson, man. It's Creighton.
I'll have to go with Alfred. It's just the fact that, all right, these smaller conference produce some good guys now.
Yeah, they have.
Ever since the emergence of Dame Lillard, I'm like, hey man, I can't sleep on Peyton. I'll have to take Elfrid Payton. I have to. I would have to. Just get a point guard where he could be a complimentary piece for if Oladipo comes off the bench, they're not really missing a beat.
Right.
So, plus he can get to the rim. And that's what I really like about his game. And he can play great defense. So I don't know if they want to do that where Oladipo stays at shooting guard, they draft him, they bring him at point so he can play lockdown defense.
Right.
So I kind of like that over Napier for the fact that Peyton can has the ability to get on the ball, steal, and then, he has a height advantage over a lot of point guards in the East if he goes. So I think that's the smart pick. And then next is Minnesota.
Minnesota needs a point guard because Rubio's terrible. Like his game hasn't developed, and they pretty much figured out. Just don't on offense. Just from 3-point line and beyond, just don't guard him because he's not going to shoot. He's going to try and pass.
I always thought that with Rubio, he need that power forward that's athletic. Love is not athletic. He just not shoot. That's why
he can shoot, and every once in a while he'll get a 30-rebound game. That's another thing. Kevin Love he's really inconsistent. When you look at the games, it's like he'll go out one game, get you 30 rebounds, next game he'll get you 5. And that type of inconsistency is like, what's going on? That's why everybody's all Kevin Love this, Kevin Love that. I'm not really.
I mean, if he do leave, I don't think that he's not a missing link to a championship team.
I mean, he might. It depends what type of team he goes to.
Surrounded by, like I said, the best one I would say would be that they would trade with Golden State.
Because they need Andrew Bogut would have to stay healthy at that point. Exactly, Andrew Bogut, he'd have to stay healthy because you need somebody consistently on defense. Who's going to play defense on that team?
Yeah, I mean, that's the only part. Because he can block shots, and you don't really need him to score. That's what the fear of that. And David Lee, I think he's an upgrade over David Lee. And if they could just get rid of Iguodala, I would keep Thompson. Iguodala, because he'll match pretty much the salary base. Iguodala and Harrison Barnes would be the best option, because therefore Rubio can have somebody that's athletic, because they don't have any athleticism on the team. Because Corey Brewer tore his ACL years ago, and it took away his athleticism. He gets to the rim, but it's not freakishly like he was. So I would believe that would be the best, but I really don't think that trade would happen.
So I think Minnesota needs another point guard. So I go maybe like Tyler Ennis, depending on who's still out there.
He's too slow. He kind of reminds me of a DJ Augustine.
Yeah, I see you saying that.
I mean, he gets to the rim. He can distribute better than Augustine, but he just, I think guys just blow past him. And that's the part where, like, I don't know. If he would have slipped to like a team like San Antonio with the last pick in the first round, I think that would benefit him because it would take a lot of pressure off him. You don't really have to rely on speed. But with Minnesota, you know what? We'll do a surprise pick. I would say Napier.
Yeah, that's I'm saying. They need a point guard. Either gonna take Napier, or if they trade Kevin Love, they're gonna try to replace that big man. That's where Adrian Payne will probably start to come, and that's where you gotta start thinking about trades and. Because the NBA draft, you get a lot of trades, especially lately in the past few years. We get trades that they say they keeping the pick, next thing you know they trade it. So,
But Payne, here's my thing. I always fear Michigan State products. To me, it's only been, besides Magic Johnson and Zach Randolph, you see guys coming out of there that don't really produce in some sense, like Maurice Ager today. It's like the only college team that plays under a system but can't have success in the NBA for some odd reason. Payne, I don't know. It had to be like a real great coach. He had to play for a playoff contending team that can just.
Well, they got Flip Saunders, and so I say I'll go 8. So it depends if Kevin Love. That's another thing. We got guys opting out of their contract, so that's gonna affect this draft. You got guys that want to get traded.
Yeah, that's what I think.
So when you get down to these teams, these are teams that didn't make the playoffs. But like case of Denver, Minnesota, they were close. Like they were in the wrong conference. Because if they ever were
in the East,
they were in the East, they would have been safely in the playoffs. If they did, like they've been talking about the possibility of doing the top 16 teams, they would have been in the playoffs. So they're really not that far behind. It's just the fact that things need to fall their way. So when it comes to, they might want to trade or sign their way to getting better, not draft their way to getting better.
I think some of these picks, it's hard to pinpoint 15 through 30.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, 28 through 30 will probably be safe.
Mm-hmm.
But from 15...
Or somebody will trade up into those first-round picks because they really want somebody.
Because I know the Bulls are trying to make a run at Melo.
They're not going to get Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo Anthony will probably stay in New York. I think he just didn't want to. I think Carmelo's going to stay in New York, but he opted out just to see what was out there, to see if somebody was going to overpay him. Because I think if somebody overpays him, he'll go. But all the teams that, like the Bulls, Lakers, I don't think they're going to overpay him. Lakers, maybe. I think he might go to the Lakers.
All right, we'll get off this draft thing.
Right.
All right, the Melo.
Because I think that's the only team he'll go to is the Lakers. Me. If he's not with the Knicks, he'll be at the Lakers. I think Carmelo personally opted out to see if he can get more money somewhere else, or if somebody came with just the A1 plan, like Chicago or Houston or somebody, to get him. Because I think if Carmelo went to Houston, they have the potential. They have a 2-year window to win the championship.
You have a lockdown point guard in Beverly. Got Harden, him, Terrence Jones, Howard. In the bench, you have Francisco Garcia, whatever.
Parsons, Lynn.
I think they'll let Parsons walk if they get Melo. I don't think they want to go over that luxury tax thing. So, man, with Melo,
I think Melo's going back to New York. Same with LeBron. LeBron's going back to Miami. But this is just all money grabs. I think LeBron, he wants his money. He took the pay cut, did 4 years, got 2 titles. Now he's trying to get paid.
It's Melo.
Melo's trying to get paid too. So unless the team,
I don't know. It's just, all right. He said he wants to win. All right, he's 30 years old. Time's ticking.
Mm-hmm.
with New York, they have guys that's under contract for another year, but you can't really trade them.
Yeah, because nobody wants them.
You know, you got J.R. Smith, and that guy just does whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Chandler, you probably can get some sort of value. Bargnani, he's injury prone.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, and I think it'll be hard to get rid of Felton unless you just want to just subject him to the amnesty clause.
I don't think they have anymore. I think they've been used there.
So if he wants to stay, I just think he's going to be. They would probably be a 7th or 8th playoff seed if he stayed.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm saying if you want to win, all right. If I'm Melo, okay, I get endorsements from Jordan, so and so that pretty much if I were to walk away from an additional $25-30 extra million.
Yeah.
All right, that will my endorsements account for that, but I want to win. So it's either between Chicago or Houston.
I think if he does, I'm saying the Lakers. I think if he's going to leave, if he's going to take the money, it's going to be the Lakers. That'd be the only team I see him going to if he leaves New York. Because you got to keep in mind, Lance Stevenson is a free agent as well, who's from New York.
Yeah, that man is crazy, man.
I like Lance.
I mean, I like him though, but that guy is. I would say.
I think his quote unquote being a bad guy is crazy. I think it's kind of overrated.
You know,
I think it's more
trying to get under guys.
Right, Lance Stevenson is not a quote unquote crazy dude. He definitely ain't no Ron Artest type
no
guy.
Vernon Maxwell.
Right, so Lance Stevenson, I don't think gets the credit he deserves for just being a classic. We talk about guys who can play in any era. He would have been perfect for the 80s, early 90s, because he's just unfortunately wrong era, wrong era. Because when guy from Miami, help me out the name. Everybody had on Twitter, had him. And has him step to him. I don't think he would back down. I mean, I think he ain't say nothing because you can't in today's
NBA. It's the playoffs,
The playoffs can't say no. In the old days,
these guys.
Which even though it's crazy to say old days, but 20 years ago, '94, I remember watching playoffs. I remember watching those Indiana New York series and.
The Bulls,
right, and they would fight and argue in the playoffs. You do that now, you go ruin
2 or 3 games opposed to one back in the day. So
if one, you might have got tech and a flagrant, and that was it.
Yeah, Stevenson. I like him, but I don't think he's gonna stay in Indiana.
I don't think he's gonna.
He'd be the man elsewhere. I don't want to be behind Paul George.
I would.
But if he goes, you say you think he'll go to New York?
If I say New York, if Phil Jackson can convince Stevenson to come to New York and get Carmelo to come back, even though they're kind of tied for cash, he's gonna have to talk to Dolan and say, hey, we gotta pay his luxury tax, we gotta do what we gotta do.
They're gonna have to. Only person that would have to be traded for real out of that whole equation is Shumpert.
Mm-hmm. Because he can't stay healthy. He was real.
He took a step back last year. He couldn't hardly score. So I think that would be the only. Because I like Hardaway, and I kind of think he'll be one of the significant pieces to the next franchise for years to come. But
you can move Hardaway to the 3 if necessary.
So with Melo going, I don't know. I always thought that it depends on what kind of pieces the Lakers put around him, him and Kobe. But if you want something that can guarantee you at least a Western Conference final spot, I would have to go with Houston.
Right.
Because I think that they could get past Oklahoma City if it's that case, or San Antonio. Well, I can never count San Antonio out. We write them off and they'll just be right back.
Right, because that's the thing. After they lost after they got put out in the first round as number 1, so everybody thought, well, this is the end. And they came back and they got finals appearance and the titles in their name. It's just business as usual. Like when the big 3 eventually do retire, and they got Kawhi Leonard already.
And Patty Mills if he stays. They're about the same age. And I like Corey Joseph.
Right.
Yeah, I like their future, but I would have to say Melo, if he wants to at least have a guaranteed spot in the finals in a 3-year span, I would say that Houston would be.
Right.
Chicago depends on if LeBron stays, it depends on what kind of pieces they put in Miami as far as the retooling. I don't think that Chicago will be able to get past, because I have my biases towards Carmelo Anthony. He's a good player, but I think he's overrated in some sense that when he's not like the best defensive player, he's gonna have to tool some things out as far as, all right, you play,
especially if he goes to Chicago,
you're gonna have to take.
Derrick Rose eventually gonna come back.
That's one part that I'll make the point and get to Rose. He's gonna have to take. He averagely plays 38 minutes a game. You're gonna have to at least two that down to 32, 33. You averaging 25. You're gonna have to cut that to 21 or 22. I don't know if he's going to.
It's not necessarily that he's got to cut down the shots. Like he has to understand if he goes to Chicago,
you're not going to need him all the time. Because he's one guy that you can. He doesn't melt the clock pretty much. He's just like, you go to the court, okay, you take 3 or 4 dribbles and you just shoot. You have like 16, 17 seconds left where you can't really just strategically think of something like a play to run. But I think that would be best because, one, he's with a solid coach. I mean, I'm not going to take away from George Karl. Like, he's a great offensive coach, but defensively, he wasn't the best defensive coach. Where you have Thibodeau, he's okay offensively. But, they lack scoring. But defensively, he'll be around guys that can play defense. And, he'll be another guy who can run in transition. And he'll be able to get the points or, get everybody else involved. So that would be my best case scenario for him to go, where he has the proper coaching. He has a great supporting cast with Noah. And depending on Rose, my part with Rose is I don't think that he will be the same freakishly athletic as getting to the rim. I think he'll be more of a spot shooter now, because I remember Jamal Crawford was like that when Chicago went towards ACL.
But the problem with Derrick Rose has been inconsistent as a shooter. Like before he got hurt, before the first ACL injury, he had really improved his shooting. But we have to see if he still can just be a spot-up shooter, because that's never really been his game. Yeah. He developed that. It wasn't until his 3rd, 4th year in the league when he finally started being able to be a threat with actual jump shot. Because before, they was playing him like Ron was playing him off. Give him the 3-pointer. Yeah. It wasn't until that 3rd year we really started to really work on it and really start hitting him. Because go look at his numbers for an NBA starting guard. You look at how many 3-pointers he took his first year, second year, you'd be surprised. Like, he really didn't take it that many.
He took less than 70. So.
Right. Like, less than 1 a game almost. And you're a guard, starting guard in the NBA. I mean, granted, he's a point guard, but still, you only took, less than 1 3-year game. It wasn't until that 3rd, 4th year we finally, got that confidence to actually take the shot and make teams pay for it.
It's one thing. I think that he'll have to work definitely on that in his 3-point shooting, because he's adequate mid-range jumper. But now with the injury, I don't know if it's a mental thing. Like I would be kind of leery of taking it to the hole as much as I did prior to me tearing my ACL and tearing my meniscus in my other knee. So what? Here's my theory on that. I always thought that players who are freakishly athletic always have like the most devastating knee injuries. Because you look, Dominique Wilkins ruptured his Achilles. Kobe, who else? Penny Hardaway.
Right.
And it's just like, all right. And then Westbrook. And I kind of think that, people can disagree with me or you can argue with me all you want. With that knee injury, I think it's going to take a toll on him in 3 or 4 years. I don't think he's going to be as athletic. I just think that's just...
It's going to be interesting to see with Westbrook what happens with him, because, he's got see if they trade him or trade Kevin Durant, because, I mean, if anything, I think Westbrook's going to get traded. The first chance he gets as a free agent, he's going to be out there.
You think him and Durant can coexist?
It's more Westbrook than Durant. I think Durant Durant strikes me as the type of guy that if you shoot when it gets crunch time, you better hit the shot.
Yeah.
That's just, I think, because Kevin Durant is not like a lot of these guys. They've never played with other guys who are superstars.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is, from high school, college, maybe AAU, he might have one teammate, but that teammate, y'all kind of going back and forth. Y'all might not played every term together. But in case of Kevin Durant, you kind of look at his teammates. He's had pretty much an all-star team around him his whole career. From going back from high school, he was at Oak Hill for a year. Then
Texas.
Right.
Got Augustine.
Right. He's always seen that superstar around him that he didn't mind sharing the ball with. But now he's with Westbrook. I don't think he minds Westbrook as much as Westbrook minds him. Like, I don't think he minds giving Westbrook the last shot, but if you're going to take it, you better hit it.
That's one thing that kind of struck me earlier, like in the playoffs. It's like, why the hell are you being a spectator at the last? I mean, you the MVP, take the shot. I mean, you've knocked down shots before. Like, it seems like Westbrook just yoked him up by the collar. It's like, look, man, don't F this up. Right. It is like he's playing like he's, I don't know. It's like, I don't know. I mean, he probably going through something. I don't know. Right. But hopefully, he'll get better. He's number 25, he's 26 soon. So with him and Westbrook, I would say
that window is closing real quick.
I would say if they don't make the NBA Finals this upcoming year, I think this reign is over with them. I just think Westbrook.
They probably should have fired Scott. See, in a perfect world, Derek Fisher retired went to the TV booth for a year. Then next year, if Oklahoma City didn't get it done, fire him, fire Scott Brooks, then bring in Derek Fisher.
Since a lot of players
I don't think it will. But I don't think it will work like that. You just bring Derek Fisher straight in from being a coach, from being a player to the coach. Just no transition. Because I think he would be a good coach for Oklahoma City. Because I think everybody thinks Derek Fisher going to be a puppet for Phil Jackson. I think Fisher's going to be a hell of a coach.
Hopefully you don't teach anybody that triangle nonsense. That stuff is kind of hard to because not every player is going to do that. So you try to do that in New York, I don't think Melo's.
No, it's not going to work with Melo.
So it depends on what kind of coaching.
You have to give, because it depends on the coaching style. It's going to depend on the coaching style to see. That's another thing when Melo comes back. Him and Derek Fisher can coexist.
Probably.
Because you have to see, because we really don't know. The reason why Brooklyn kind of sort of worked was because Jason Kidd and Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce, they all knew each other.
Yeah.
There was kind of that mutual respect for each other. They all came in the league around the same time. Kind of, hey, we're going to make this work. We'll have to see with
Kerr and Golden State.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be a perfect fit because he was a shooter. A lot of guys now in Golden State are shooters. I don't know what his defensive. Well, I don't know about defense because he used to get blown by in the final. That's why I like his fit there with Mark. Because Mark Jackson. To be honest with you, I don't even think he was that good of a coach. Okay, he's a great motivational guy, but as far as late game line, they should have won 60 games. To be honest with you, because
they should have made it out
the Clippers series.
Right, they should.
Because it's the late game lineups. I know they didn't have Bogut, but when Bogut was healthy, I think they want to play that conservative approach where you used to put small guys in there. And then it was that one game they played Denver, and it was up by 6. It was up by 6, 4 minutes left. And Nate Robinson was just taking them to the hole. Now, if you had Bogut in there, he would at least block the shot or alter the shot to have a bad shot. And why the hell would you put Lee at the center Barnes at the 4. It's just the small ball tactics don't work. Like he's a good motivational speaker, but as far as coaching, his lineups are just shaky. Like you should have been at least a third seed in the West because you had games won, and a lot of the time they play stupid. Because I think he lets Curry do whatever he wants to do because he'll put the ball in his hands in the last 2 or 3 minutes, and then it's kind of like Tony Parker, how you try to do too much, but you kind of over dribble and turn the ball over, and that was their whole biggest downfall for him being a coach. I mean, I'm not saying that he's a bad coach, but it was just small stuff that could have just helped them propel. Just like have a bigger lineup. You have the bigs. You have like one of the best front courts in the NBA. If in late moments, all right, put Spates in, where I understand that Bogut's been injury prone for the past 4 or 5 years. You want to conserve him, but take him out at the beginning of the 4th and bring him in the last 5 because Space can score. Bogut can't really score under their system, and that's what part that really just threw me off of Jackson. Like, all right, your lineups is just not flying, man. I mean, it's evident. I don't even coach basketball, and I could have said that. Like, come on, why the hell did you take Bogut out? So with Kerr, I had to see. I can't really make any prediction. I had to see what kind of free agent moves or trades will happen. So
so it's still early, man. So we gotta see. All's gonna happen. Free agency trade. I said we doing this on Tuesday. Thursday is a lot could happen. So we've been doing this podcast, and by the time we check our phone, somebody might got traded.
So it's gonna be interesting. I say I agree with you a lot on the draft. Melo. Everybody kind of has their views on Melo.
Like I said, we won't know until they sign.
So hey, I'm ready for it though. So this is the end of the podcast. I will see you guys next week.